Yeah. Good morning, everybody, and welcome, and thank you for joining us. We've got another fertility talk, and today we are talking to Francette, and Francette is a registered dietitian, and she's going to talk about, as we are still on the topic of male infertility, we're going to look at the nutritional side of male infertility and how your nutrition does affect when you are dealing with infertility. So thank you, Francette, and welcome. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for taking the time
Thank
out
you,
to do
Leanne.
this talk.
Thank you so much for having me. So yes, as Leanne mentioned, I'm a registered dietitian. My passion is for fertility nutrition and also pregnancy nutrition. I'm based in Midrand at the Waterfall City Hospital, and I also have a practice in Pretoria East, and I practice online also. And yeah, just for interest's sake, I've also been through the journey of IVF. After several attempts of IVF, we finally fell pregnant, and I've got a beautiful 4-year-old boy.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's just such a
Awesome.
journey.
Thank you. I really like it when someone on the other end is also, they've been through the journey, so they understand you. And I think when you have patients that are coming to you dealing with infertility, you can actually, they would feel more comfortable because they know when they are speaking to you, you know what they are talking about, and they wouldn't feel as crazy. I always say, like, sometimes you would feel like, oh, I'm so crazy saying these things or thinking these things. But so it really does help. So thank you for that, Francette. I'm gonna get our first question we have for you is, does it really matter whether a partner has good sperm quality, as it only takes one and there are so many?
All right. Yeah, that is a good question. And yes, there are many, millions in fact, but we do actually know when the sperm quality is poor. So that would be either the volume is off, or the concentration, or the shape, or even the movement of the sperm, that really does reduce the couple's chances of conceiving. And there's interesting research. It actually shows that when couples are seeking help from experts, they are struggling to conceive, that in 50% of the cases, it's actually related to male factor in combination with also female and male factors together. So that's quite a massive number. And I think we often actually perceive the male's role in this fertility journey to be super small, but his role is so massive and crucial, and his commitment is so important, because what we actually find is that his health and his diet can either support or delay the fertility journey. And I think especially when the biological clock is ticking, we really need the commitment from both sides. And one thing I also just want to mention, I think it is worth just quickly mentioning, is that the sperm's job is not necessarily done once the egg has been fertilized. So there is some emerging evidence showing that in a small percentage of miscarriages, it might be related to male factors. So we always encourage couples, especially when they're struggling with recurrent miscarriage, to get that investigated. But in my practice, I encourage male partners to get the sperm tested without delay.
Yeah.
For all of them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Our next question is, when looking at sperm health and quality, what does research say about a partner's body weight? Is it important or not?
Yes, so it is actually quite important, and the research is quite interesting. It actually shows that both undernutrition and overnutrition can play a role here and have a negative effect on the sperm quality. So in the cases of, let's say, a gentleman in a smaller body, if they are underweight, that would be a BMI under 18.5, and it's easy to just get a BMI calculator online to calculate that. But we do find that actually has a poor effect on the sperm quality in terms of the numbers, also the concentration, and even the motility. And often with those gentlemen, if they're underweight and they have undernutrition, they often also have micronutrient deficiencies. So in my practice, I would work with that gentleman. We actually need to gain a bit of weight with a very nutrient-dense diet. and also fix those micronutrient deficiencies, either then with diet or supplementation. And then on the other hand, we've got maybe gentlemen living with overweight or obesity. And then again, also the research shows that that has got a negative effect often on the sperm volume and the numbers and the concentration. So once again, it just shows that all male partners must actually be on a good quality diet as well, because their
Okay.
diet and weight does really play a role.
Yes, yes. Okay, so the next question is, are there any food items and lifestyle choices men should avoid when trying to conceive?
Yes, yes, definitely. So if we think of the lifestyle choices, we want to avoid exposure to toxins. This can be especially harmful if it's someone's occupation. So think, for example, of exposure to pesticides, for example.
Yeah,
Then we also have other toxins like smoking, and then we also need to avoid excessive consumption of alcohol. And then we want to avoid heat in that very important area, of course. So that would be, for example, saunas, long hot baths, maybe working with a laptop on the lap. So obviously we want better circulation. So we rather want to put that laptop on the table, and even things like long commutes. I know it can't always be avoided, but just to take
yeah,
that into consideration, very tight fitting underwear and also certain sportswear that men might wear for, and that would probably only be a problem if it's for long periods of time. So,
yeah,
and then in terms of you ask about the diet also, so there are two things we really need to consider when we're looking at the diet for men when it gets to fertility. The one would be the type of fat being consumed, and the other one would be the choice of meat. Now, when we look at the type of fat, we really want to avoid those trans fats. So trans fats we get in baked goods, but especially in food that has been deep fried. But now we're also looking at food that has been fried in oil, where the oil has been used over and over again. So we actually find that the trans fat will increase in those types of food. So that is really detrimental to the sperm quality. And then also saturated fat. We get the saturated fat from animal products, especially then from the fat on the meat. And that is actually linked, those types of fats
yeah.
that will be linked to lower sperm numbers and also concentration. And then when we look at the choice of meat, I think there's quite a lot of debate then also. Sorry, let me just mute this. There's also often a lot of debate around meat and the choice of meat. So when we look at which ones are not so great, it would be your processed deli meats. So let's think of like salami and bacon and sausages, even ham. So
Yeah.
they are also detrimental to the sperm quality. So we rather want to choose those lean, unprocessed meats. Those are
Okay.
definitely the better options. Even if it's red meat, we just
Yeah.
want it to be unprocessed.
Yeah. You mentioned something about um, the pesticides and stuff, some of them what men would now maybe in their job and so forth. And I always think of, I watched something a while ago where I'm looking at thinking of men and women. So for example, we clean our bathrooms down with bleach. I love my bleach all over. How bad is that for someone that is trying to conceive? I'm not sure if I'm asking you the right question, but is that harmful for someone trying to conceive? Like, if you're someone that just clean out your bathroom completely with bleach, bleach, bleach all over the place. How bad is
I
that?
think definitely there is a lot of research for males and females. A lot of
Yeah,
our environment is full of toxins.
yeah,
And we can even talk further about things like the toxins that we might get from things like plastic and also the cooking ware, and then
yes,
also the chemicals that's being used in the home. We can't get away from it. But I
yeah,
think we just need to try and limit the exposure, whether it would then be, remember, it's not just touching it, but would also be
yes,
inhaling of that.
yes. Okay, thanks. Sorry for asking that question now. I
No,
know
no,
it
you're
wasn't part of
welcome.
our list. Okay, and then we're going to look at, can supplements help to treat male infertility, improve sperm quality?
Yes, yes. So there's actually quite a bit of research, and as you know, there's so many products out there. So it actually does show in the research that certain nutrients can improve the sperm quality. But in the same vein, I just want to say that, and I'm sure you've dealt with this many times, you really
Yes.
want to work with an expert in the field when choosing a supplement, because you get general supplements and you get supplements that will treat a specific problem. So you can
Yeah,
even delay the journey by choosing the wrong supplement, for example. So work with an expert, make sure you're getting the right problem, the right product to
yeah,
treat your specific problem. Yes.
yes,
But then obviously as a dietitian in my practice, I always have the approach of food first. So even
yes,
if we are going to use supplements or not, we need that base of a very good quality diet. And from
yeah,
the research, it does show we need a diet really rich in the omega-3s. So we'll get
yeah,
that from the dark pink fish and the walnuts. We need the antioxidants in the diet. So that would be your vitamin C, your vitamin E, and your selenium. We can get all of that from the diet. Even coenzyme Q10, which is so popular, we can get that from the diet. We'll get
yeah,
that definitely from things like tuna and salmon and whole grains. And then
yes,
zinc, often zinc is also in the supplements. We'll get good quantities of zinc from meat and fish and even dairy and some
yeah,
of the fortified cereals. So as a base, we want to have that good quality diet. In my practice, I would sit with a client and we go through the whole nutritional assessment and diet history, and I will tailor their own diet plan for them based on their background and their issues. And we want to incorporate those good, healthy nutrients, but we also want to do it in a way that it is sustainable. So I would ask that person about their likes and their dislikes and their routine so that we can actually get it part of a sustainable diet that the person will actually follow.
yeah. I'm just thinking as you're talking, um, you can listen to the talk and you can say, okay, fine, I'll just add this and this and this to my diet. But how
Sure.
important is it to actually go and see a dietitian so that they can tailor something? So I'm glad you said you tailor something
Mm,
according to what their
absolutely.
needs are and their requirements, obviously. So it's not just about someone just writing up any diet, it's about you as a person. Am I right? Because
Absolutely.
there is a way where you can actually take more than what you need, and one is maybe canceling out the other. So
Absolutely. We can actually get toxic levels also. Some of the nutrients, if you take them together, they compete for absorption.
yeah,
And yeah, so it can actually lead to bigger problems. And I think in terms of the fertility, we do
yes,
want to work with a fertility focused dietitian, because when we actually, as fertility dietitians, we actually sit with the sperm profile and we would
yeah,
see if the shape is off or the quantity is off, and then we work specifically on that. So it's not just a general improvement of the
yes,
quality
yes.
of the diet. Yes.
I'm so glad you mentioned that. Thank you very much. How long will it take for diet and lifestyle changes to impact sperm quality?
All right. So basically about 74 days. That's how long the sperm takes to mature and go through the process. But then there's an extra 12 days for final maturation. So you can basically round that off to 3 months.
Yes,
And it's good to take that into consideration. But I do also want everyone listening to know that when researchers were doing their studies, they actually found when they implemented changes, it didn't just take them 3 months. Often it would take 3 months to 6 months or even longer to really get that improvement in the sperm quality. So although we have about 3 months to make new sperm, researchers found sometimes it actually took a little bit longer. So it's just important to take that into consideration, that timeline, so that we just give the time needed for the diet, the lifestyle, and the supplements actually to take effect and actually work.
okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Francette.
It's
It's
a
been
pleasure.
very you've given us really good information there. So thank you for taking the time out to do this talk with us, and I really appreciate
You're
it.
welcome.
It's a
So
pleasure.
welcome. Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank
very
you for
much.
having me.
It's a pleasure.
And
Francette, if you could just
yes,
tell everybody if they want to get hold of you, how do they get hold of you?
absolutely. So on Instagram would be easy. It is at Francette Dietitian. you can actually just send me a direct message. I'm also on Facebook. It's also Francette Dietician, and my contact details are also there if you would like to email me.
Okay,
So
perfect.
that's
Thank
really
you.
easy. Yes.
Thank you very much, Francette. Have a lovely day
Thank you.
further.
You too. Enjoy
Bye.
the rest of your day. Thanks. Bye-bye. Bye.